You know, it's been a strange time in America. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I'm losing friends and relatives. Maybe it's because we just suffered through a pandemic, and there's a lot of loss that has come from that. We're facing a really rough economy. But there are some people who have been with us along the way in this journey, helping to protect your money in the economic war and helping to protect your family and our nation. And we've suffered loss when great patriots have passed on. I think over the past year or two, my friend Phil Haney, who wrote See Something, Say Something, he was a whistleblower in the government, or Herman Cain, you know, the great Herman Cain, great businessman. He was a candidate for president. He was a guest on Economic War Room. And you know, he really shared the value and importance of free markets and free enterprise and right political thought. Bishop Harry Jackson, also a guest on the Economic War Room, tremendous man that was helping in urban areas, and we featured him. And then, of course, there's the great Rich Higgins. And Rich Higgins, we've had on a couple of episodes. He wrote the memo. He worked in the Trump White House at the National Security Council, and he was a close friend and someone that I worked with directly at the Pentagon. In fact, he's the one who contracted for me to work there. You know, they're all huge losses to this nation. They're also calls for us because they led by example. And recently, I heard that another dear friend, guest on the Economic War Room, somebody that I've worked with through the years, Lieutenant Colonel from the Marines, retired, Chris Graham, wonderful man. He was picked by Ron DeSantis to lead the Florida State Guard after 75 years that they didn't have a state guard. He was the main driving force at one time behind the Counter-Terrorist magazine, to which I regularly contributed. I was a contributing editor, and also to Tactics and Preparedness magazine. And that's where we worked very recently. In fact, just a month or so ago, we published a story on the Digital Texan together. Well, we lost Chris, and the details aren't all in, and I don't know. I just got a call last week that said that he'd passed on, and I thought this was a time we should really stop and reflect, because one of his final great articles that he wrote that was published in the Tactics and Preparedness May 22 issue is titled Lead by Example. Lead yourself, lead the world. That's a man who knew what he was talking about. I just want to read just a little portion of it because it is such an impactful thing for us today. And I'm just going to cut to the closing up. He writes, sitting alone in the dark, cramming Twinkies in your face and binge watching Netflix while playing dress up in a surgical mask is not what you were created for. You were born for this place. You were born for this time. Hit play on Kid Rock's Born Free and lead by example. If you have experienced successfully leading yourself for at least one day, you're ready to lead others. Former Assistant Secretary of Defense under President Reagan and Chairman of the Center for Security Policy, Frank Gaffney, who is also a guest frequently in the Economic War Room, said the Biden-Harris team was installed to bring down America. Based on all his comments, I think he believes the improbable 2020 presidential election reports were not accurate. I think he believes they are deliberately working to reset our constitutional republic by flying the country into the ground and surrendering it to the Communist Party of China, controlled by the World Health Organization via a May 2022 WHA amendment ahead of U.S. elections. Regardless of whether the evidence before you has proven those charges, we all see the tidal wave of professional narrative merchants earnestly insisting that black is white, left is right, and right is wrong. Narratives are pushed from the top down, but things are fixed from the bottom up. And then what he did was he went and gave a call to you to fix the narrative, to put it in its place and bring truth forth. He said, don't just retweet Elon Musk quotes and send Ron DeSantis $20 for his campaign for freedom. Do you want to identify the subversive influences in your city, county, and state offices and replace bad actors with men and women you trust to safeguard America's future? This is the call. Lead by example. I love Chris Graham.